I don't have a flag.
I do. I'm gonna look at one here.
Okay,
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. You notice I'm wearing a brace,
what's the other guy look like?
right? He's a doctor. He took care of me. Do we do a roll call or just
I think we can keep it kind of informal today, sir,
record the attendance?
with you.
Great.
So I sent out the draft report late last night, and apologies it was so late. What I thought we might do, if it's okay with everybody, is just take 10 minutes and maybe read it, and then we could spend the rest of the time talking about it. And I'd be happy to post it on the screen or share it with everybody again. The stuff that's highlighted in the document needs to be kind of updated because obviously this is a first draft and we have to go through some stuff. But why don't I just be quiet and give folks 10 minutes and I can send it to you again if you need it.
Has everyone had enough time? Yeah. What's the
I'm
consensus?
a slow reader, but yeah.
Okay. We'll give you another 2 minutes, Brian.
No, it's up to you. I'm good. I wrote
Okay.
it, so I know what's in it.
I assume the yellow highlighted sections are the areas we want to focus on or do some more wordsmithing on.
Also, the yellow sections, Ozzy, sort of need to be rewritten in their entirety because I either didn't have the information on the financial stuff, which I received late last night, and the executive summary kind of needs to be written once everything is done. So anything that's sort of highlighted is more of a work in progress than the rest of the document.
Got it. Since I have the mic, I'll just make my comment. Brad, I think it's good. I think the tone is generally good. I think it's an adroit summary of it. I think the thing that I would call out the most is I would like to see some identification of backwards planning of expenditures and connecting expenditures to overall strategic and mission goals. You know, whether it's supporting reliability, mobility, infrastructure, et cetera, and like just labeling projects so that you can do that great pie chart to show where your spend is and what things are connected to. Thank you.
I just took a.
Sorry,
Okay.
Ozzy, did you say that one
I
more
just-
time? And
Oh, go
Sure, hopefully I can think of it again.
backward planning. to see the
Backwards
projects
planning,
affect
connecting
reliability.
individual expenditures to how they nest within or support strategic and mission goals.
Got it. Okay.
You know, and I would label reliability, sustainability, performance, build out, maintenance, operations, et cetera.
Thank you. Sorry, Tracy, I cut you off there. I
I
apologize.
just did a quick read. I need a little bit more time. I mean, I think the situation's very obvious. I think the tone is right. Everything's way underfunded. And, I'm post-partisan. I was a public servant, am a public servant. I don't really look at the politics. I look at what we're doing here, sort of the policy and the budgets and implementation. You don't say this in here because maybe you can't, but I don't see how we can afford the decarbonization, the climate goals that the state has in place. They've already backed off. We saw the articles yesterday. They backed off on trucks and their ban or what they're trying to get people to do in cities and towns. I don't see with this kind of situation, no cap or very little capital funding to meet the needs of the MBTA, how the system can afford to be. I don't even see how the system can afford to be doing these commuter rail extensions because there are so many things that delayed purchases and on the operating side, a lot of delayed maintenance. It just seems to me that we can't afford the climate goals. And I think you're going to see more of them fall. And I understand there's a limit to what you can say in this report, but I think the tone overall, considering what you have to work with, is good.
Well, I'm happy to, it's the committee's document. I'm just meant to be a scribe and try to give you something to start with. And then I look forward to your direction and your voice. So let me know what you want to say. And if there's specific projects that you want to call out or that either are there or are not there, we can certainly do that. If there are certain things that are blatantly missing, and I think both Ozzy and you, Tracy, have touched on the fact that there does seem to be a lacking overarching vision or plan or strategy for sort of what we're doing. I understand the approach is to try to fix stuff, and that's wonderful, and we need to do that. But there also needs to be somewhere where people can go to talk about the vision thing. And that relates to the climate goals, and that relates to, where the authority is going. And it's just not there. And it's not, this is not anyone's fault. This is the structure we have. The T is not allowed to plan its own future. That's a responsibility of the Department of Transportation, and they just don't do it. So, you know, I'm more than willing to put any language in there at all, and happy to defend it. So you just let me know, please.
Yeah, because the Department of Transportation is beholden to the governor and her point of view. And let's not let Charlie Baker, who I've known Charlie for years, but let's not let him off the hook, because he was doing the same thing pretty much. So yeah, I don't know at what point we can say, hey, this is a train wreck, no pun intended.
Maybe not that language.
No, we can come up with something appropriately bureaucratic.
The other thing just to mention is that if there's ideas that come to folks, you know, in the next week or two, you can just email me or Hannah anytime and let us know. We don't have to hash this all out today, trying to be incredibly respectful of the open meeting law and not sort of going in circles with everybody so that we have, you know, circular discussions, you know, but documents like this are really hard to edit as a committee. So if there are things that you come up with, or if anybody wants to send me like a wordsmith to either print it out and mark it up and scan it, or use to track changes in Word, you can do that too. And I'm more than willing to take anyone's advice and thoughts. And if there are areas where the committee might not necessarily agree on things, we can certainly discuss that as a group.
So I'm not sure if anyone else has anything to add. But I did want to just, you know, obviously the general theme happens to be, you know, where is the money going to come from? What's the funding sources? And I guess in part of the recommendations is continuing to have, you know, whatever goal for capital improvement or, you know, missions, they might have more of a funding source tied to it. Just to be, I guess, a little bit more, put a little more work into, not from us, but from whatever entities are looking to get it, whatever departments potentially are tying certain capital improvements or long-term initiatives into a funding source. And I'll just use an example of, you know, disposition of MBTA properties that are, you know, not serving the needs of the MBTA any longer, or have a higher and better use that could be, you know, revenue generating for funding long-term projects. Those would be some of the recommendations I would see how we can kind of wordsmith into.
Yeah, that makes sense. Certainly the real estate piece and the need to work closer with municipalities on stuff is certainly something that we can mention in there for sure. Cool. Well, again, I don't want to keep everybody for the sake of keeping everybody, Mr. Mayor. So, you know, people can send us information. And again, we're just trying to be incredibly respectful of the open meeting law. I will continue to make edits to this. I'll rewrite the financial section. I will rewrite some of the other things to include based on the comments today and what else we receive. When we gather in 2 weeks, because next week's school vacation week, if folks are happy, we can even then maybe vote to recommend it, or we can continue to work on it. But again, it's up to you folks. And I'm not trying to at all put my words in your mouths. I want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable with this, but I also just accept how hard it is to do this as a committee. So we're doing the best we can with the structures we're working in.
Appreciate
I
that.
just have one more. Sorry, Mayor. I just have one more comment, and that would be, I think we need to prioritize expenditures, even if it's just in the big picture, making some statements. Something's got to go. But, you know, and I'm not going to keep, no, I am going to keep harping on, is decarbonization more important than the immediate safety of the system? Right. Should safety come first? I mean, safety needs to come first. I'm not even gonna say ask a question or pose a question. Safety has to come first.
Well, I think you could argue that
You know, I don't-
having a safe, reliable system brings users, which is adds to decarbonization of the total transportation network. Sorry to truncate you and cut you off. They're not mutually exclusive, I guess, is my point.
Yeah, they are. Because I mean safety as in we can't have green line cars, you know, derailing. That's not safe at all. That's got to come before any of our worries about decarbonization.
No, I'm supporting your
different
point.
things.
If you,
I mean, I
I'm
see-
supporting your point. If you have a system that's so unsafe, people don't use it, they're going to be in single occupancy cars and the whole system's not decarbonized.
Well, I think it comes
Just-
down to that vision thing again, right? So Tracy, to your point, safety has to be first, absolutely. But
And
how do we prioritize without knowing what the priorities are?
the priority is that the T has to be safe. I mean, in every way. So it's not just the capital budget, it's the operating budget too. Because you're looking and watch. I worked for 2 secretaries of transportation. I worked at MAPC for 8 years. I worked at DCR. I have a lot of transportation policy background. This system is so poorly maintained right now. It's not safe. It's not meeting the standard of safety in any way, in my opinion. And I don't know what the federal agencies are saying about it, but I'm worried about that first over decarbonization. And you can link that into whatever you want, but I'm more worried about people just getting on rail cars and when they get on the green line, they're safe because the tracks are maintained, well maintained. And that doesn't have anything to do with decarbonization. Sorry.
Okay. Yep.
So you're talking about, you know, just prioritization more than for or against anything.
Yes.
What's the high level priority? You know, I don't. I would tend to agree with you there. What's the priority? You know, when it comes to whether or not what's safe and what's not safe, I don't want to put my name down and saying that I don't feel that the system is safe. I'm sure that any large system, there's always going to be updated maintenance that needs to be, you know, brought to the forefront. So I don't disagree with you though. You know, what comes first?
Right.
You guys are elected officials, and at this point, I'm the rep from the town of Marblehead. I'm not the chairman of the board of selectmen, so I'm not trying to put you in a place where you have to say that T is unsafe. You know, I was a speechwriter for a governor. I know what we have, how we can say things, but let's just be honest here. Safety is an issue, and that's got to be a priority. That has to be the priority when you're looking at capital investment.
Yep.
It has to.
I don't think you get any
say
disagreement.
that without dissing anything else.
Well, I agree. It's always paramount.
I think, well, safety has to be based on a baseline. What baseline are we starting from? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yep,
can hear
yep.
you.
So
There's just-
I'm on the MWRE advisory board also, and I know this is very different. And the MWRE they've achieved the you know, the 2.5%, no more than an increase of 2.5% for the past, you know, 5-6 years, which is, you know, pretty remarkable. And with you know, for all the communities that are using MWRA, you know, to have that constant, just no more than 2.5% increase. I know this is very different, but I don't think we'll see that anytime soon with MBTA. Is there like like I was in Amsterdam 2 years ago, and I know that the transit system is a lot better than us. So, I mean, is there like a model that we can look at what they have as far as like CIP, safety, something that we can look at? What do they look at from the top down?
There's data that
I
we
don't
can look at.
know this whole, not the whole CIP, and then I don't, I look at on page 9, I see structures at $782 million. I don't know what consists in the structure item, what's in the vehicle. I'm sure there's safety, there's, you know, upkeep and the basic maintenance. And each one of those items.
There's data that we can use. Can you guys hear me? Because his audio kind of cut out. There's data that we can use. I mean, you can look at the T 20 years ago, look at the safety data, and look at it now. Look at it 30 years ago. I mean, I saw something about derailings for this system when you look at other systems nationally, and we're very high. So that's just a lot of green line cars probably going off on spurs accidentally or whatever's happening. I mean,
There were
I've been away
cars that
from this
they're
for a
not
while,
that
Brian.
bad.
You know more than I do.
Yep. I mean, look at, we can go about this in a bunch of different
There's
ways. I think we all agree that there needs to be a prioritization there and that safety has to be the top priority. How we get there and what words we use is sort of, you know, if anybody wants to send me language, I'd be more than happy to include it. Please let me know. Otherwise, I think our next meeting is in 2 weeks. I think that's the what, 23rd?
So it's actually on the on my calendar, the way that I have it set up. I think this was based on also the mayor's schedule.
Yeah.
It's on Wednesday, the 30th
Yeah,
at 10 a.m.
Thank you. That's right. Yep. So unless, you know, between now and then, please send me what you want, what language you want to see, and how you want to go about this. And otherwise, Mr. Mayor, I think we're good until the 30th if everyone else is.
Thank you. Everyone good?
Yeah, so Brian, you'll send a revised or updated report
Yes.
a couple days before the meeting so we can go over it, and then, or I don't know, a week before, whatever, and then we can go over it and even send some edits on that.
Yes, sir. That's the plan.
Yeah. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you,
I think
Brian.
the only other thing, really quickly, Mr. Mayor, is minutes from the last meeting.
Approval of minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's there, but you need my vote.
They're perfect. Trust me.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Perfect.
So moved.
Thanks,
Aye.
everybody.